and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a big old book haul. It's been a couple of weeks since I filmed this, and when I was thinking about filming it I was like, I swear I don't have that many books that I haven't shown off before. And then I started pulling them off my shelf and there are quite a few. Before we dive into the video, if you like fantasy books, romance books, book hauls, big bookshelves, make sure you're dropping a subscribe. And as you watch this video, let me know in the comments what your most recent book purchase was. Without further ado, let's just dive into the books. I've been really lucky the past few weeks that I've been sent quite a few proof copies or review copies from publishers, so I'm gonna start with those. First up on that list is the absolutely gorgeous hardback proof copy of The Night Prince by Lauren Palfreyman. This is book 2 in the Wolf King series, which I've read this year and absolutely adored. I have already read book 2. It is phenomenal. This actually made it as my... what did this get? It got one of my Court Spicy Books Awards for Best Sequel of 2025. This is a spicy wolf shifter based romantasy series with a bit of a... I don't know if it's a love triangle, I don't know if it's a why choose, I'm not sure where we're going with this. It has some Scottish folklore and mythology in there. Overall, I just thought this was super addictive. I'm really happy to have the hardback proof. I love that they've done hardback proofs for these and that they have the different colours of tartan. So this has Blake's black tartan on it, whereas book 1 had Callum's red tartan. If you've read the series, you know what I'm going on about. This actually lives in like pride of place behind me. Like this shelf behind me where I film usually is where all my favourite books go, all my favourite editions go. And this lives right behind me next to the hardback proof of book 1. This book is coming out really soon. It's actually out in February 2026. But I did read this at the end of 2025 and had a really wonderful time with it. If you haven't already picked up the Wolf King series by Lauren Palfreyman, I would 100% recommend it. That's not what the video is about, but just in case, it's a good series. I really enjoy it. I think you will too. There's quite a few February 2026 releases, actually. Up next, we have a proof copy of The Lies That Summon the Night by Tessonia Odette. I am super excited about this one. This one also comes out in February. I have recently read, in the past few months, Rivalry of Hearts by Tessonia Odette, which was my first book from this author. I fell in love with the writing style. I really vibe with that book. It was fantastic. This is the author's first traditionally published debut, so all of her other books have been originally independently published and then have since been picked up for traditional publishing, but this is the first one that is going straight to the trad pub market. This is supposed to be a spicy, sinful, adult romantasy. I'm really excited about this. I'm particularly excited actually, this doesn't look very long. This is actually under 300 pages. Which, like, good. I feel like sometimes I get books and, like, a lot of them are around the 500, 600 page mark, so I'm really excited to have one that's around the 300 page mark for a change. And I believe this is the first in a series. I'm really looking forward to diving into this. Another February release, and I can't remember if I hauled this one in the last haul or not, so if it's a duplicate, I'm sorry, but I think I got it just after I uploaded that last one. This is Half City by Kate Golden. This has to be one of my most anticipated releases of 2026. Last year I read Kate Golden's Sacred Stones trilogy, really vibed with that. This one is more urban fantasy, and I feel like urban fantasy the last few years has been like digging its claws back in and like crawling itself out of that 2012 grave. And this one has a hint of dark academia as well in there. It's kind of like a demon hunting academy. This is giving me what I hope is going to be like more adult shadow hunters. That's what I'm looking for this. I want this to be adult shadow hunters. Demon hunters, dark academia, and deadly secrets collide. This is going to be a romantasy series, so there's going to be more of them. Everything I'm seeing about this book so far looks like it has all of the ingredients to become one of my favourite books of the year. I have high hopes for this one. I really hope it's going to be fantastic. I have 2 more proofs, I think. This one is Lynette Noni's Shadow Reaper. This comes out in June 2026, so a little bit later into the year. And again, I've loved Lynette Noni's previous series. The Prison Healer series is one of my favourite YA series of all time. This one is another YA fantasy, and I will definitely say last year I read very few YA fantasies. In previous years, it's been a pretty strong like 50-50 split, or like 60 adult, 40 YA. Some reason last year I didn't read many of them. I think it's just because my TBR was full of adult fantasies I was trying to get to. I feel like it's been a while since the Prison Healer trilogy wrapped up, and I don't think there's any other books out there by Lynette Noni. There might be actually. I feel like she's wrote some contemporary romance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've only read her fantasy series. So I'm looking forward to diving into a brand new world and a brand new book from the author as well. I do actually have 2 other proof copies to show you, but they are going to come slightly later in the video because I have the proof copies and then the finished copies. I'll just show them all together. So the last one for now is what has to be my most anticipated book for 2026. This is Enamorata by Ava Reid. I love Ava Reid. If you have seen my videos before, you will know that I've devoured absolutely everything this author has written. I have rated most of it a 5-star. I think all the stuff I didn't rate a 5-star, I rated a 4-star. This is supposed to be in the same vein as Juniper and Thorn, which I did really enjoy, but is not my favourite, like my personal favourite of Ava Reid's writing. But definitely one of the books I found the most intriguing and weird and wonderful and couldn't put down. So I'm looking forward to diving into Inamorata. I think this is going to be luscious. This is a duology. This is book 1 in the House of Teeth duology. And this is a dark, more gothic fantasy with some romance in there as well, I believe. I'm going to eat this up. I'm so excited for this. This is huge. I think this has to be the longest book Ava Reid has written. Yeah, we're looking at like over 500 pages. I think the majority of the Ava Reid that I've read has been around the 400 mark. So I can't wait to get into this. Okay, let's take a break from the proof copies. We'll come back to some others in a minute and let's just look at some books I've been buying. There is a series I read at the end of 2025 that shot right up into like my favourite series of all time. It was so fantastic. I was so obsessed with it. I'm still so obsessed with it that I needed more copies of this book. That is the Quicksilver series. So I picked up the trade paperbacks of Quicksilver and Brimstone. If you're watching this and you're like, Becca, where do I get trade paperbacks? I actually found like an Irish website. I seem to have picked this tip up. I think I found it on TikTok. There's a lot of Irish book sellers, and I think in Ireland, a lot of the books that are brand new released come out in trade paperbacks. If anyone's watching from Ireland and knows the reason why for this, or knows if that's true, let me know in the comments. If anyone wants to know the website that I specifically got these from, then let me know and I can put it in the comments. But I have a friend that also does this and she gets them from a different place. So I think there's a couple of different options you could just shop around. I do actually have a proof of Quicksilver, which is one of the most prized books in my collection now. However, they decided not to do proofs for Brimstone, and I'm not sure if they're doing them for the rest of the series. So I felt like I needed to have some like big floppy paperback version of the books rather than the standard paperback when it comes out. I haven't actually seen the cover for the standard paperback. It might be the exact same, I'm not sure. But the other things I loved about the trade paperbacks is they actually have the artwork in that they have in the hardbacks. So book 2 has the little fox onyx at the front and then Carrion Swift, my main man, at the back. I will say they're flipped. So in the hardback, Carrion Swift is at the front, the fox at the back, and the same with book 1. Ceres is usually at the front and Kingfisher's at the back. So they are flipped, but the artwork is still in there, which I really enjoy. And this was a nice surprise, but book 2 came signed as well. So a win. I loved these books. I thought they were fantastic. Carrion Swift is one of my favourite side characters of all time. This couple is one of my favourite couples of all time. I absolutely adored, and I mean adored, the storyline, the banter. Found this hilarious, actually. It was such a good balance of like serious high stakes fantasy and light humour. And the spice was pretty good as well. I've seen a lot of people not enjoy Brimstone, and I don't know if we read the same book. I will say it took me to about the 30% mark to like really start running with this. Like the first 30% I enjoyed. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I've got to DNF this. I was enjoying the first 30%, but after that first 30% mark, it picked up its pace quite a bit. And I think because the two main characters separate for part of this book, I wonder if people didn't enjoy it for that reason. I don't know. I've seen quite a few people say they didn't like this one or they DNF'd it, but I absolutely adored it. So might be in the minority there. Next up is a book that I've already read, and I received this book as PR, and I'm so excited that I did because I read this at the end of 2025 and made it into my top 10 of the year. It was fantastic. This is the gorgeous special edition hardback of Hollow by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. There's a couple of different special editions knocking around for this book. I'm not entirely sure which one this one is. I think this is just like the standard US first print special edition that you can get your hands on. I'm in the UK and I did... Oh, it also came with a book plate. I'm in the UK and I did pre-order this on UK Amazon, and my order was cancelled like many other people's. I'm pretty sure this edition is only available to the US or on US Amazon. It might be available to Canada as well. The price in here actually doesn't have a pound sign on it. It just has a price in dollars, which makes me think maybe this is just a US exclusive. You can order this on the US Amazon. Obviously, you'll just have to pay the shipping to get it over here. They've done this before with their Neverkeep and Echo Forts hardbacks. They remain independently published in the UK, so I wonder if it's that or I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. Anyway, if you want to grab it, you could grab it on the US Amazon. This is a super gorgeous book. It's the first in a series. This is unlike anything I've ever read from the Twisted Sisters. It also comes with some beautiful character art that is different front and back. With this book, I've been saying if you haven't enjoyed any books by the Twisted Sisters before, I still think you need to give this one a go. It felt so different and so elevated from everything else I've read from them, and I love the Twisted Sisters. They are easily one of my auto-buy authors. I must have read most of their backlog by now. I think the only things I haven't read from them are the They have a vampire series, which I haven't read. They did a newer fantasy series that I can't remember the name of. And then I haven't read Echo Fort yet, but all of Zodiac, all of Ruthless Boys, all of the United States of Anarchy, I've read all of those ones. And I've been obsessed for years, let me tell you. But this, really good, fantastic, 5 stars, 6 stars maybe even. This was really reminiscent to me of Anathema, but I feel like this had some of the pace and, I don't know, action. I think Anathema, particularly book 2 of Anathema, missed for me, but less of the dark gothic kind of horror vibes. So if you've been eyeing up Hollow, I would absolutely recommend grabbing it. And if you can get your hands on this special edition, or I think there's a purple one, which might be a Walmart or a Target exclusive or something in the US, maybe grab that one too. On to some Waterstones pre-orders. This is one of my favourite series I read when it was indie, and now it's trad published, and it's come with these beautiful Waterstones signed editions, so I received these in the mail in the past few weeks. This is book 1 and book 2 in the War of Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent. It is a trilogy. Book 3 is coming out really soon, actually, and book 3 has a matching sprayed edge signed edition. If you are looking for one, you can still pre-order that, I believe, at the time that I'm filming this. Again, I've already read these ones. It feels like all the books I'm buying, I've already read. Oh, Becca, they're all duplicates again! I do have some books in here I haven't read, I promise. But I love this series. It stands out as really unique in my mind, from like the world to the magic system to even the romance. Like, I love the way this guy just wants to keep his garden and let her run off and slay things in the world. Like, he's happy to be like, yeah, you pop off, babe. I'll have, you know, soup ready when you get home. So these were just 2 pre-orders. They came in as pre-orders do. I actually forgot the release of book 1 was now. I thought it was a bit longer. Like, I don't know why I was thinking this was coming out later in 2026. So this was a bit of a surprise, and then book 2 I knew was coming out. And I have pre-ordered book 3, so hopefully that will feature in a future haul, and I'll have all 3 of them together. This next book I was very luckily sent, but I would have absolutely been picking this up if I wasn't sent it, and that is The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes by Tiffany Hunt. I think if you like Assistant to the Villain, you're going to love this. I actually have a whole video coming up about this book and its tropes. I haven't read it just yet, but it's so high on my TBR for 2026. It looks like such a good, fun time. And I'm really enjoying the foiled, like, shiny paperback of this as well. This is dark fantasy romance. I think this is going to be a little bit darker than what Assistant to the Villain was, just based on how I've read this. This almost looks like if Assistant to the Villain and, like, Lights Out or Butcher and Blackbird had a baby. Like, that's maybe where this would sit. Or more like if Lights Out or Butcher and Blackbird were in a fantasy setting, maybe. I'm really vibing with this. I haven't read it yet. I'm very excited too. But this one is a new paperback in my collection. I have a couple of indie books that I've picked up since the last haul, so let me just quickly go through those. In my previous haul, I mentioned that I ordered the Gretchen Powell Fox, the Shattered Crown series, and that only book 2 had shown up so far. Book 1 arrived literally like the day after I sent that video off to my editor. I've got my hands on these whilst I'm still able to. They are indie pubbed and they're going into a trad pub deal. I don't have too much to say about this one because I rambled on about like why I'd picked up the series in the last haul, but long story short, since picking this up, the author has also been announced for Books, Gowns and Crowns San Diego, which I am attending. I haven't actually mentioned that on here. I am a Books, Gowns and Crowns influencer, so if you're looking at going to Books, Gowns and Crowns in San Diego in 2026, it's September this year, I will leave my code below. I think my code gets you a discount on the top tier of ticket, which is the ticket that I will be going on. So if anyone's had their eye on that event, I'm just mentioning it because Gretchen Powell Fox is going to be there. That's another reason I've picked up these books. I'm really lucky that literally as I got these, Gretchen Powell Fox was like, oh, and I'm going to Books, Gowns and Crowns. And I was like, great, I will see you there with my books. I'm going to 2 international signings in 2026. I'm doing a Polycon in Washington, DC, and then Books, Gowns and Crowns in San Diego. And then in 2027, I'm going to be trying to do Spellbound in the District, which is in Amsterdam. So let me know if anybody wants to know more about the international signings I'm going to, or like wants to see which books I'm taking to each one. This one, for example, will be coming with me to Books, Gowns and Crowns. The next book came as part of my Patreon membership for Emma Ham, and this is technically like a physical arc of A Light So Blinding. I'm pretty sure this is the same as the edition that you would order if you ordered it from a bookstore or Amazon, but obviously we've received it a little bit early as a perk of being subscribed to the author's Patreon. She did send this signed. This is the same size. Actually, I have a special edition paperback of book 1 in the series, and I absolutely love that. This, or book 1, I guess, won my Court of Spicy Books Choice Award for, like, the best of the weird and wonderful. And I've been really excited to dive into book 2. I think book 3 has been announced now as well, and book 3 is coming out really soon. This is one of my favourite monster romance series ever, and that's saying a lot because I've only read book 1, but this is troll romance. It's delicious. If you like, orc romance, it feels quite similar, and I also really enjoy Emma Ham's other monster romance series with the mermen. Whispers of the Deep, also fantastic. This also came with some really cute stickers as well. One of the things I did last year was join a couple of authors' patrons. The ones that I pay for are Victoria Aveline and then Emma Ham. They're the only two that I've joined on a paid tier, I think. But I would really recommend checking it out. It's something I'd never really considered before. I knew lots of artists had patrons, but I've only seen recently authors have them. They must have had them for a long time and I just didn't know about them. But it's a great way for me to support some of my favourite authors, and then they also come with perks like getting copies of the book sent to me. It's almost like I pre-ordered it and forgot about it and like didn't have to think about placing an order. And this copy has gorgeous artwork inside as well. Another indie book that I picked up, and this one is also a sequel. This is actually the last book in the series, I believe. This is A Fate So Dark and Delicate by Sophia St. Germain. This is the final book in the Compelling Fate saga. In my last haul, I mentioned that I'd picked up books 1, 2 and 3 because I was seeing such good reviews about this series, and then that they immediately got picked up for traditional publishing. But book 4 has released for a short period of time, so you can grab it in its indie paperback, so I got this to match the other 3 that I have. These 4 books are definitely going to be on my 26 books for 2026. Not too much to say about this one because I haven't read it yet. I picked this up because I'm a stickler for my series having to match. One of my biggest pet peeves, whilst I'm really happy for the authors when they get picked up for traditional publishing halfway through a series, I then don't have a complete matching series, so I often get rid of my indie paperbacks and buy the new ones when they come out. So I'm really, really happy that the author did release this literally for a couple of weeks, I think, before it gets pulled off the market to go trad pub, so at least the people that have been collecting these books indie could have a matching set. I've just found a proof copy in my pile of books I still need to talk about that apparently I didn't cover earlier. This is The Gravewood by Kelly Andrew, and this is one of the new Wayward acquisitions. I actually picked this one up at a Wayward event at the end of 2025, but I don't think I've spoke about this one yet. It's releasing in April 2026, and this looks to be a vampire romantasy. Now, my internal From Blood and Ash fan heart comes out of my chest anytime I hear about any kind of new vampire romantasy that I'm hoping I can sink my teeth into. So this one has my attention. I haven't spoken about this yet just because I kind of got home and it's been on my shelf, and I've been waiting for 2026 to dive into it because I was trying so desperately to finish my 2025 TBR. This is another romantasy book that's shorter. I'm kind of enjoying there seems to be a couple of shorter romantasy books releasing, and I'm looking forward to diving into this. In the last few months of 2025, I received pretty much back-to-back proof copies of Your Knife, My Heart and My Blade, Your Back by K.M. Moronova. This is a brand new duology in the Leave Me Behind world, the Dark Forces world. Now, Leave Me Behind was my favourite dark romance that I read in 2025, so I've been so excited to dive into these two, and K.M. Moronova was a new-to-me author last year, and I've since read a number of their books and really vibed with every single one of them. So I was really excited to receive these. I did also then receive my pre-orders because they sent the proofs out literally a couple of weeks before the books came out, so I then received my pre-order copies and I managed to order. These are the US first print editions, I think, that have the sprayed edges. They do match the first edition that I have of book 1, Leave Me Behind. Again, if anyone's wondering where I got these from, I think, again, I had to order them from US Amazon. This one has unfortunately arrived a bit bashed. And this one seems to have some kind of printing error. I don't know if you can see that, where it's kind of like there's a white line, like the print seems to have shifted. I actually have a friend in the US who has managed to pick me up 2 of the, I think they're Walmart or Target exclusives again, of these books. They're like a black and white version that look really beautiful. So I'm hoping they show up in a better condition, and I might give these to one of my friends who her pre-order got cancelled and she's been keeping her eye on these. But in case anyone has been trying to track these down and didn't have success, I know some people in the UK got their pre-orders and some people didn't. Definitely check out, again, US Amazon. I will say I'm really sad mine kind of came bashed up. I did try and return this one to see if they would give me another one, but they wanted me to ship it back to the US and then receive another one, and I was just like, it's really too much hassle for a tiny little like bastion corner. So I was like, no, you know what, it's fine, I will live with it. So I'm currently storing these edgeways out with like the proof copies next to them, so they're kind of like staggered. Okay, last couple of books. If you haven't left me a note in the comment with what your most recent book purchase was already, then now is your time to do so. I'm going to quickly chat about the Lightlock series. I've recently picked up the special edition of book 1 and book 2, and then this is the only physical copy I've seen of the Oro and Grimm. I think this is called tete-a-tete style, where they're like, you know, they flip the novellas. I've had my eye on these books for ages. Now that the series is finished, Crown Tide is out, and I think that was the final book. I will be giving this a read in 2026. This is one of the most controversial series I see everywhere. Some people love this, some people really do not like it. I'm really hoping I enjoy it. It seems, again, it's got all the ingredients that I think is going to make this a good book for me. And I really hope I like it, particularly because I bought the like nice slipcase. I'm probably blinding you with these, sorry. Special editions of these. They've only done the special editions so far of Lightlark and Nightbane. I do have the paperbacks of this series as well, so I'll probably read the paperbacks and I'll grab Crown Tide in paperback when it comes out. And then maybe off the back of reading the paperbacks, I'll decide whether I want to get book 3 and 4 in the special edition when it comes out, or whether I'm going to unhaul these. I'm really on the fence. I have lots of mutuals whose opinions I usually agree with that love it, and I have mutuals whose opinion I usually agree with that hate it. This one seems like such a polarizing series, so I'm interested to see on what side of that I fall. And then the last 2 sets I have to talk about are actually from genres that I don't usually read in. One of my New Year's bookish resolutions is just to try a couple of books from genres that I'm not super familiar with, or that don't kind of sit within my usual realm of what I like to read. So the first set I've picked up is the Annihilation series by Jeff Vandermeer. This is actually called the Southern Reach series, and I believe there are 3 books of Annihilation, Authority and Acceptance, and then I think Absolution is a collection of novellas or kind of short stories set in this world. I'm not gonna lie, the covers really got me with this one, but I have been trying to read a bit more sci-fi. It's a genre that I kind of dip my toes in, particularly around the space of like dystopian. But I used to really enjoy reading sci-fi when I was younger. One of my favourite series growing up was The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. And I feel like a lot of the dystopian that I read back in the day was more sci-fi leaning than it was fantasy leaning. So I've been trying to reignite my love for that a bit more. Adult sci-fi terrifies me, and I don't know why. But me and my husband have been listening to the Project Hail Mary audiobook and really enjoying that one. And I do want to go on to read the rest of the Andy Weir books as well. But this series in particular, I've mentioned before when I've spoke about dystopian, anything that seems to have a bit of an element of kind of environmental science to it, or like something's gone wrong with the environment or with the green spaces around the world, really interests me. And these are the beautiful 10th anniversary editions as well, so I think it's probably just going to show up silver on camera, but they are like a holographic foiling. And I actually found these at a really great price on Booktube, which is a company I work with a lot. So that's where my set came from. So we have the first one, Annihilation, book 2 is Authority, book 3 is Acceptance, and book 4, which is Absolution. I cannot guarantee I'm going to read these in 2026. I'm really hoping that I do. I have such a stacked TBR for this year already. There are lots of series that I want to read, and like one of my New Year's resolutions as well is going to be stop putting so much pressure on me to like read the books that I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to read that and I've got to read. I'm just going to go with the vibes. I'm just going to go back to being a mood reader and pick up whatever calls to me. But in the instance that sci-fi calls to me, this is where I'm going to be going. I also thought this was such a good idea to grab because my husband's been looking to read more and he's quite interested. He's really enjoying the Andy Weir, and he's enjoyed some sci-fi before, so I thought even if I don't get to read these, my husband probably will. And the last set is similar to that in like that it's a different genre to what I usually read. This time it is more thrillers. I really wish I was a thriller girly, and again, I feel like I can enjoy thrillers when they're like fantasy thrillers, or like I've read some thrillers. I really enjoyed one by Callan Bayron, for example. I don't know, it's just not a genre that I gravitate towards, but I've been following a lot of kind of the crime and thriller booktalkers, bookstagrammers, booktubers. They've really been convincing me to give the thriller genre another try. I didn't really know where to start. I've seen these ones really highly recommended, and again, there was a bundle on Bookstore that I thought was a fab price, so I picked them up. There's 4 different books in the set. They're all standalones. I think the one that interests me the most is Survive the Night. It's interesting that I'm not a big fan of thriller books, and I don't think I'm not a fan of them. I just think I haven't really given them a good go, but particularly because a lot of the games and films I enjoy are like horror games, I guess, or things with a thrill element, particularly films. Like I love teen slasher films. This is like a teen slasher film in my brain. This is Survive the Night, and it's just one of the books in the bundle. I also picked up The House Across the Lake, The Only One Left, and Home Before Dark. Quite a lot of you guys have recommended Riley Sager to me as well when I've spoke about wanting to read more thriller books or wanting to get into thriller as a genre. So I think I've read the blurbs of all of these, and these all sound really interesting. All of them are books that I'm like, yeah, God, oh my God, that sounds incredible. But I don't know, if I feel like if I picked this up at a bookstore, I'd go, that sounds incredible, and I'd put it back down. So they're on my shelf. I don't really have an excuse to not go to them if I am feeling like reading a thriller, and it's going to be my goal to read at least one of these this year and give one of them a go. If anybody has read these and has a recommendation on like which one is their favourite, or if there's a specific one you'd recommend over another for me specifically, or like if there's a reading order, I know they're not connected, but like if you'd recommend 2 that are similar and then maybe one afterwards, let me know. Is there any Riley Sager fans watching? Do you recommend I read these? And that is the end of my book haul. As I said at the beginning, I was looking around my shelf being like, I don't know if it's time to film a book haul. I really don't have that much that's new. Then I started pulling books off and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, there is quite a chunk of books here. I will say I have just unhauled around 400 books. I'm so sad I never filmed that. I really should have filmed an unhaul. Next time I do a big unhaul, I will film it. And I have just filmed a complete library tour as well, so you'll see all of these books popping up in that video. That will be coming out later this month, I think. But yes, I really tried to end 2025 with a huge run haul to make some space for some of these new books to come in, but I'm going to be challenging myself for 2026 to buy less physical books because I don't have the space for them. So I will continue to film book hauls because books will continue to arrive at my house. They might just not be as big as this one in the future. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for watching. Make sure you've left me a comment, a like, and you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next one.